The single-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine is shipping out across the country, with the first shots happening as early as today. Nearly 4 million doses are being distributed, and with 380,000 doses on the way to California. But it's the 72% efficacy rate that has some people kind of hesitant to get this particular vaccine.
And joining us this morning to talk about it is Nurse Alice Benjamin. Good morning, Nurse Alice.
Good morning.
To see you.
Good morning, everyone.
So the U.S. has approved 3 COVID vaccines now. And before we get into the concerns, can you break down the difference between Moderna, Pfizer, and now Johnson & Johnson?
I know there's more vaccines that are coming out. So the Moderna and Pfizer vaccine use mRNA technology. The newer Johnson & Johnson vaccine uses an adenovirus technology. But long story short, it's important for people to know that it helps protect us from the coronavirus. Now, the J&J vaccine is definitely going to be a game changer in this, and for many reasons. For one, it is a one-shot vaccine, so it makes it easier logistically and to get to those hard-to-reach people who can't, keep coming back and forth to get their vaccine.
Yeah.
As well, we know that the J&J vaccine, the shelf life is a little bit longer, and it can be stored in regular refrigerator temperatures, unlike the other 2 vaccines. So what does that mean? It means that it can get into your doctor's offices. It can travel out into, vehicles to get into those hard-to-reach areas without the necessity of cold temperatures, and it's more cost-effective, quite honestly. And when people are thinking about these various vaccines, I don't want people to get hung up on, should I get Pfizer, Moderna, J&J? The most important thing is that you get your vaccine and that you have some type of protection.
Yeah, but as you can imagine, if you have an option between getting the 90% versus 70%, there is going to be choice of people wanting to go with the one that's a little bit more effective. Speaking of Johnson & Johnson, though, you're saying that some people think it's not as good as the other vaccines because of its efficacy rate, but you're saying that that's not really true at all. What should people know if they're concerned about whether they should get one that's less effective than the other right now?
Well, Danielle, you raise a good point. And this is the thing. I don't want people to get so hung up in the numbers, because when you look at the 95 effectiveness rate of the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine, we have to realize that those vaccines were tested earlier in the summer prior to many of the variants that were out. Okay, so when you look at the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, although it may have a quote unquote lower number, the technology is a little bit different. And as well, this was tested later on in the year, and it was tested globally. So it means that J&J vaccine went up against some of these variants that we're worried and concerned about now. So it could be perhaps that those particular variants brought those numbers down. But hey, we do know that it's effective against those variants. So I think that's something that's very important for people to understand. And at this time, we're still in a shortage of vaccines.
Yeah.
So when it comes to picking and choosing, I would say whatever vaccine is readily available, go ahead and get it, because some protection is better than no protection at all.
Okay.
And Nurse Alice, let's talk about booster shots for the vaccine. When do you think we might see those? And do you think that would help build people's confidence?
Absolutely. So those booster vaccines are actually in the works. All of the manufacturers are currently working on developing them because we anticipate that there may be a need for booster vaccines. And as well as we know that they're going to be constantly working on improving the initial vaccine for people. But, I don't have a crystal ball. They haven't said when these will be available. But if we probably can anticipate, it might be something like the flu shot. So hopefully let's get everyone vaccinated first go around this year, and probably next year we can anticipate some type of booster vaccine coming along.
All right, Nurse Alice Benjamin, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.